Hey guys, welcome back to another video. In today's video what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be making some molds. The first thing that we need is some high temperature silicone gaskets. The silicone rubber gaskets will help my vacuum casting. On the other side, this is going to be like a two-part video, and then on the other side we're going to be doing some silicone rubber. I finally have my silicone rubber in. It was like $500 for this stuff, but it should last me a lot longer than the little containers like I was using before, because this is a 5-gallon bucket this time. And so it's really expensive up front, but it should last me a long time. And what I plan on doing with that is making some molds of my sprues without having to cast wax inside of toilet paper rolls like I've been doing. So here's our silicone rubber. It's called Conosil 25. I bought this online through a company called Silpack. So this stuff on top is a blue. It's like a dye, but it's the hardener for the rubber, so it's what makes it solidify. And then the stuff on the bottom is just the base. So here are old wax sprues, which as you can see, they look pretty crappy compared to what I 3D printed out. These sprues are bad for a few reasons. One, they have like a indentation on them from the wax shrinking, and it's really rough around that same area because of the way I cut the toilet paper rolls. And then also you can kind of see like small little paper fragments stuck to them, and so I've been having to like carve them out with a knife. And then you also have to hot glue them to a piece of plywood so that way they don't leak out the bottom, which I've also had that happen. You can see the leftover hot glue here from me taking them off. So overall these are just really time consuming and I need something better. So I printed off these sprues, and again I'm going to make a larger one so that way this part here, if I had a cylinder that just came straight up, all this area in here would just be wasted silicone. And so I'm going to print off a larger one, about I think a 1/4 inch thick is what I'm going to shoot for. I might even go a little bit thinner, maybe an 1/8 inch or something. So that way it'll like perfectly copy this, and then I'll pour my rubber into there and it'll make a perfect mold for these sprues. Now here is what I printed off for our high temperature silicone rubber gaskets. I just kind of modeled these up in the Bamboo Studio software. All I'm going to do is put some mold release in here and then put some caulking in that inner ring and try to flatten it out with something as best as I can to make sure that the gasket's nice and flat. I got 2 tubes of this 3M fire block sealant. I couldn't find anything that was like really labeled high temperature silicone, but this stuff should work the same because it does have a rating on here that says tested up to 1382 Fahrenheit. So once this dries, I'll come back and I'll show you guys how they turned out. Another thing is I managed to get some of this Rutland 500 degree Fahrenheit RTV silicone sealant, and this should actually work. Whereas this stuff, what I think I got was actually some kind of like mortar. Because it's like stone. It's not like flexible like silicone. It's just hard stuff. And this stuff says it's silicone sealant, and it's supposed to be an elastic material, so it should be a little bit flexible. Now I gotta get these junk pieces out, and then I'm gonna put this inside here and make some new rings. Now I also ordered some silicone rubber mats that are probably about the shape of this plywood here, and then we're just gonna cut out a center hole where, you know, the hole in the vacuum table is. I might have to start using this because the silicone rubber mats were like $20 for like 3 of the sheets. And it did say this stuff is clear, so definitely looks more like silicone. It's actually just thinking, I got the perfect straight edge for my sand casting. I use a metal ruler. The reason it's so important to make sure it's flat is because you need a good seal. Oh wow. Yep. There we go. There's one really nice flat side. The other side isn't as flat because that's where we had to kind of level it off, but this should hopefully be good enough. I mean, it's probably either way going to be substantially better than what we were doing before. Awesome, that worked perfect actually. So now I just got to clean up all this extra like flashing and make some more. Now these are glued on, they're drying a little bit. Now we got to put these over and glue these down, but we have to make sure that they're centered. And so the way we do that is by looking on the other side and then gluing this where it's about even. Okay, we're ready to mix our silicone rubber. And I was just reading the front of the label here, and it says we need 100 to 10 base to activator by weight. So we need 10 times this than this. So let's go ahead and open this up, which I don't even know where this tape stuff ends. That's thick. Didn't mean to get it all over the cup. Okay, so we have 6.2 ounces or 177 grams. So 177 grams. So we're going to need to add 10 times less of the activator. So we'll need 17.7 grams. This is to shake the bottle really good. A little over. Okay, now we're just going to mix this together. Getting all over my fingers. Okay, let's flip these over. My only concern is that this stuff is really thick. Oh God. Okay, so that didn't go as well as I thought it would, but at least it's done. It was just way thicker than I thought it was going to be, and it also just took way longer than I thought it would. Okay, you can see I took one of the molds off here, and I kind of disassembled it. So what I had to do was I like cut along the bottom here, which was kind of a pain. Trying to figure out something still that might make this easier, like maybe a putty knife or something I can wedge in between it. But then I had to break off the outer shell to get the actual mold out, and here we go. We have a nice silicone rubber mold here. Nice, they all turned out pretty good. I think that first one that I did was actually the worst one. The rest of them feel pretty thick. I think there was maybe one that was a little thinner on the upper wall. You can see they all turned out. Now we can make tons of wax sprues, and this will make it way easier and better for us to do our wax castings. Here's what we were doing before. So I just cut up toilet paper roll, and then there's our new wax system. So this will be our new wax sprue. So it's got a nice taper to it, and it's also bigger, and it has a nice flat side. This will be way easier and better to cast multiples of, and I also won't have to hot glue them down. I just have to make sure they're stable. Well, I just poured some wax into these. Let's check them out.
Nice.
Yep, this'll do. So they all turned out really good, and this is actually the one that had that really thin spot on it. But even this one turned out really good. So now we can use these instead of those. Much better.